Do a good intro.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. Midweek, we are here with myself, Manny Rowland, and
Co-host Henry Jamineski.
we're here for the Beware of the Dog podcast. We're going to go over a little bit of the ADCC trials and just discuss a little bit of what we saw.
Yeah.
Wanna jump into it?
Yeah, for sure. Normally we've been doing MMA and breaking it down and and grappling on the other end, but I think with this huge weekend, we can cover the trials in a pretty, we have so much information from what we saw this past weekend.
That and it being in our own backyard.
That's
you
it.
know?
That's it. That's it. Only a couple hours away. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how you felt about it, but obviously, you can look at the winners. We got Couch. We had,
It's not Oliveira.
no, it's not
Olivares
Oliver.
or something.
Oliveras.
Dorian.
Dorian. Yep, Dorian.
No, he's impressive, man.
Very impressive.
17.
Very, very
It's
impressive.
very similar to my game when I was 17.
Yes, of course. He should have kept with it. And he really, his wrestling was phenomenal.
I have a question. What belt is he?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
He's a blue belt.
He's a blue belt, huh? Wow.
It's an impressive.
That's
blue
crazy.
belt.
That's crazy. But you could obviously see the wrestling experience.
He's definitely got a wrestling pedigree for sure.
For sure. Yeah. And I think traditionally the wrestlers benefit from the ADCC rule set.
Yeah, for sure. It's like like their ability to continue nonstop pressure, and then the fact that you could literally be in the parking lot, it's still going, and the ref will be like, "I'll allow it."
Exactly. Although I'll tell you who got screwed pretty heavily from that was the guy from the Henzo guy from up north. Man, he got screwed heavy with it. They were going out of bounds, and he got pushed back into bounds. And when he got pushed back into bounds, they were tied up. The ref actually pushed him down to the mat.
Oh wow!
Who the hell was? Oh, Jason Rao.
Oh,
Jason Rao.
He did tell me to.
Yeah. And you could argue that he was. I'm not going to say he was winning the match, but he was in a strong position, right? And instead of now having to go down from the guard position, which he's very strong leg locker, has a very good guard. Instead of being in that position, he could have been back standing and they could have re-wrestled, and he had a front headlock position right before that. So who knows where it would have taken the match.
It's like you kind of, as you're going out of bounds, or as like you're going into a situation where it feels like it's about to get stopped, you also like lighten up.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether you're in, the ADCC trials or you're just grappling with some of your homies, there's just like a thing that happens where you're just like, oh, look up.
Well, and then it's almost like it's almost an unspoken rule, in my opinion.
And then you get mushed down.
100%. So yes, or unless they let you go, like you said, out on the carpet, and now you're wrestling around.
There was plenty of them that were like literally in the midst of the crowd.
It was crazy. But I think, other than the big names, obviously, John Calistine had a nice run.
Yeah.
He seems a little small for that division, in my opinion. He's a stocky guy. There's no question. Yeah. Very strong leg locker. Really strong all around jiu-jitsu game.
I saw a couple of his finishes.
Yeah. Really sweet finishes, man. Really, really sweet finishes.
The ones that I watched too weren't leg locks. It was he had I forget what that one finish was. I think it was like there was some kind of strangle.
Yes, he took the back on one of them. And then yes,
there it is.
He took the back, he trapped the arm, and then got the finish, like almost like a sitting up finish.
Yeah.
That was there it is, the sitting up finish, which was really, really nice.
Yeah.
And that guy came at him aggressive as hell too.
Yeah.
And then he did have one leg lock finish. It was tough to see what it was.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I remember watching it a couple of times trying to figure out what it was.
Yeah.
I think it was some kind of a heel situation.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was an outside heel hook, but like I said, I couldn't see. It was either that or he's got a really nice Aoki lock as well.
Yeah.
We were actually talking about that earlier. He was talking about that. I was watching a video of him talking about the Aoki lock, and and he had, he had said that was something that, he watched Aoki, he studied what he was doing. And it's funny too, man. Coincidentally, I was watching um, the standings, the rankings in that weight class, and Mikey Musumeci is at the top of that weight class right now. And you know how I feel about what Mikey Musumeci is doing right now.
Hey, listen, there's a lot of ways I'd like to see Mikey Musumeci in one of these.
Yeah, man.
Up against some real competition.
Yes, and that's his age.
Is that something contractually that he can or cannot do? Do we know that?
I don't know the answer to that, but I'm thinking that there is something there, because I know Gordon Ryan had signed up at 1, and then came out of it because they were limiting what he could and couldn't do.
Yeah.
So my guess is yes. The answer is yes. Although the Rotolo brothers are, they must have signed a deal where they're not inclusive. It's not exclusive.
Because they were in the Who's Number One.
Yeah,
they were in. They're always on. Flow.
Yeah, they're in different matches more recently. But based on what I had seen, there's a lot of guys in that division that I would really. I mean, I wouldn't even mind seeing the John Calistine, Mikey Musumeci matchup.
It's a nice little leg game.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I think right now Mikey Nogi is focusing primarily on legs, from what I've seen, right? He may have had a back taker here or there with a finish, but I think he's primarily focused on his leg game, and I think Calistine would give him a run for his money. I think he's, not only does he have a better leg lock game, but I think he has a more diverse leg lock game as well. He's doing Z-locks. He's entering into Z-locks. He's working secondary leg attacks while focusing on the primary at the same time, So I think he adds a different dimension to that mix for sure.
Yeah, for sure. He's got a very interesting game. I like his game.
Yeah.
I will say again though, after seeing Baby Shark put that one post on his Instagram, that's like, I would love to see that too.
Yes, I would definitely like to see that. But we'll see. We'll see what the future brings there, I guess.
So then, were there any other matches that stood out to you? Anything that you saw in ADCC that really just opened your eyes?
I really liked the Couch J-Rod finish.
Yeah.
I really.
You texted me as soon as that.
Dude, I wasn't expecting it, and I had to rewatch the finish, and I'm like, why did they hear his foot break? And then when I turned the volume up, I heard tap 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 tap. So how often do you get to see? J-Rod. J-Rod, I mean, the one thing he's known for, win or lose, there you go.
Escapes.
Submission escapes. Yeah. That's his go-tos. And he's young in the game. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Couch has, I feel as if though, which that matchup never made sense to me in the first place, but, when he fought Gordon Ryan, right? It was like he got smothered finished. And I felt like that was a crazy mismatch. That should have never happened, in my opinion. Excuse me.
Props to him for taking it.
Oh, no question. No question. And I felt as if that really lit a fire up under his ass.
His jiu-jitsu has been really impressive recently. I like Elder Cruz.
Yeah.
I like his wrestling.
Me too.
And I've enjoyed actually most of his matches are entertaining.
No question.
It's never like, oh, here's a boring match.
No question.
Like some strong stand-up scrap and stuff like that, but the way that he got submitted by Couch is just like his game is really impressive.
It really is,
and
man.
He's really focusing on the legs as well.
Right? Yes, he's got a nice mix of finishes and I mean, I'd be hard pressed to find a position that he's not strong in from a finish standpoint. I would say other than that, I would say Carlos Steen was fun to watch. Like we talked about earlier. The ADCC rule set really benefits the wrestler. Yeah. To me, it always has, but it does seem that once you start getting into the championship itself, you see a lot more finishes. Yeah. You see a lot more strong Brazilians coming out. Guys, like we talked about this, right? It's like you look at the guys that have won their division traditionally. And they were primarily gi guys originally, You know, even the crew, even Mika and Fabricio and Baby Shark, you know, coming out of that crew, they are, you know, originally gi guys, you know, that have just added wrestling to their game, and you know, and have been successful because of it. You know, I wasn't sure if I don't think you got a chance to watch it, but we were talking about that match that Fabricio had with
Fabricio and Jay.
Yeah, Fabricio Andre.
I forget the guy's name.
He's this Russian guy.
I know it starts with like a V and ends in the K.
Yeah, exactly. With a ski, maybe, or SKY. And that was a wrestling match. Yeah. You know, that was primarily a wrestling match. There were some back taking, but they both had good defense in those positions. And
that was a decision?
It was a decision. Yep. And it was this 3-rounder. They had a really nice, this particular, and I got to go back to it. I started watching it earlier today for the first time, and I had seen somebody talking about it. But they had like 3 rounds, and it wasn't like, you know, 1 round and done. And it was fun and interesting to watch. You know, Flo had it on, so I watched a lot of the Cole Abate was in it. There were some other names in the event that were pretty cool to watch. Okay. You know, so when you get a chance, definitely check that out. Right? It was no-gi. Yeah. Speaking of guys transitioning into no-gi, you saw Tynan is taking his first. Is taking his first no-gi match. I feel as if they're kind of giving him a. I don't want to say a light match because the guy's tough, but I feel like they're not. You know, they're letting him ease into it. Yeah. You know,
Tynan's good, man.
Oh, he's awesome. He's awesome. Somebody was asking me the other day how I felt about it and what I thought. And honestly, you know, we had the pleasure of being on the mats with him, and you could just see the way he thinks and the way he moves. Obviously, coming out of that pedigree, you know, the AOJ pedigree. Yeah. You know, Cole has been training no-gi for a while now. Cole has been successful in no-gi for a while now. ADCC, I mean, what did he finish? Did he finish top 3 or top 4?
In his weight division?
In his weight division?
He was in the West Coast, right?
I'm talking in the actual, in the tournament.
Last year.
Yeah, last year. Yeah. He finished pretty high. I mean, he was pretty successful. And he's been successful in a lot of the who's number one. So I would imagine, and the Mendes brothers have fought obviously in ADCC and have been successful in ADCC. So you know, you talk about a guy coming out of the gi. You know, it's not like a situation where like a what's his name from New Wave. Marigali. It's not like Marigali where he had to switch teams almost to get better in no-gi. You know, I mean, Dalpra is coming from a nice pedigree, and I think he'll be successful. It should be interesting to see.
A lot of those guys have a similar movement pattern.
No question.
But it's a good movement pattern, man.
Dude, it's crazy, man. Yeah. It's crazy. I loved watching, you know, when the Mendes brothers were still competing. You know, they were moving beautifully.
We got a couple of young guys coming out of there too, like young.
Yeah, like 8, 9, 8. Yeah, I mean, the Dalpra is bringing and Abate is bringing some of these guys up, and they're going to be, you know, they're the future, man. Yeah. I mean, they showed. I watched something on Tynan last week where it showed when he started with the Mendes brothers, and he started with the Mendes brothers the same age as a lot of those kids.
Got it.
You know, I mean, he and Abate too. Yeah. You know, those guys started when they were super young, and you know, when you're on a team like that, you have no choice but to be successful. Yeah. You know, one of my former students, Josue, Peruvian cat, who used to train with us over here. He's out there training with them, and you could see he brought a lot of that stuff to the mats when he came.
Oh, I felt it.
Yeah, when he came to the mats the last time he was here. Yeah. He was one though to never really work his cardio as much, so that's always been kind of his kryptonite. But you could see, you know, he had a beautiful DLR footlock, really good, which I'm sure this is what you're talking about. Really good Berimbolo stuff.
Crab ride.
Crab ride stuff, the different stuff, leg drag stuff that he was working.
And you see on his passing too, it's very reminiscent of Adalper's style.
No question. Like a pressure, but not too much. He's moving,
flanking.
Yes, yeah. Really, really good stuff. So, but anyway, guys, just wanted to follow up while it was fresh in everybody's minds, and we'll hope to see you on Sunday following this crazy week of fights.
Yes, sir.
What do we?
My gosh.
Yeah, I know.
We talked about it.
We did talk about it. We talked about it. Again, now we're 2 days away. What are your picks? Let's say top three fights. We're talking
Volk versus.
Why
are we blanking right now?
I know. I have no idea.
Makachev.
Who you going with? Volk with Makachev.
I'm a Volk fan.
Okay.
And if I take that out of the equation, I still think Volk has what it takes. He's got less weight to cut. I think he comes in a little bit, maybe a little bit fresher.
Yeah.
I think that weight cut is a big weight cut. They said Makachev earlier this week was walking around 200 pounds.
Did you see videos of Makachev cutting weight?
No.
He was. They took off his shirt, which was soaked with sweat, and he was slowly making his way to the scale.
Wow.
Now, granted, these guys are professionals. They've done this before. They come in fresh. He'll probably gain 15 pounds after the weigh-in, 15, 20 pounds. But it's got to take something out of you, man. It definitely does. I can't imagine that it wouldn't.
There's like two things that I look at when I look at that matchup. I'm like, one is like Makachev is coming from so far to get to that weight class.
Yeah.
So I think that's a disadvantage. Now, the disadvantage for Volk, I think, is he took this fight on 11 days' notice.
No question.
Now, the question is, what was he doing leading up to those 11 days? If
that's
Volk
true.
Is anything of what he has proven to be thus far, he was getting ready.
There's no question. And I think, with Craig Jones talking that Sambo doesn't exist stuff, I think it's going to be interesting. And it's funny, too, because he's not just straight up saying it. He's basically saying what he's saying makes sense, but you still can't take away from the fact that, Sambo is an art of its own. Yeah. We've talked about this in the past. It may not be the most successful art, but at the end of the day, Makachev is a wrestler. Yeah. And he's a strong wrestler. So I'm with you though. I'm going with Volk. I'm picking Volk.
I'm going Chimaev.
I'm going Chimaev. Definitely going Chimaev.
I think, yeah, man. I mean, I just, I want to give the ex-champ my vote.
Yeah.
But I'm a fan of his, and so that goes to show you that it's not my bias. That
I'm the same way with you, dude. I'm the same way with you.
So I think
I'm not even really a huge Khamzat fan, to be honest with you. But I think right now, you saw that little back and forth he had with what's the name where he picked him up, DC.
No, who Khamzat had?
Yeah. So him and Cormier were messing around, and he literally scooped up DC and like lifted him off the ground. And DC has got to be a heavy 260 right now, or somewhere close to that. I would imagine. He's sitting on the couch, DC, not like in shape, ready to go, DC. Yeah. And then they had him and Khamzat had they had an interview back and forth where he was like, I'll knock you out, man. I'll beat you, or DC was saying.
So what's the you said top three matches?
And then the other one, Johnny Walker with the Russian.
Ankalev,
Makalev, yeah.
I messed that one up. Makalaka.
Now, I was picking Johnny just because he's the dog, and I think with a parlay I can make a little bit more money off of it. But in conversations that I've been having since talking about picking him, I think I'm swaying back to that Russian is tough, man. He's real tough.
He's had some good matches leading up to that.
He has, and Johnny Walker has too, though.
I think I'm going Johnny Walker just because of what. The damage he absorbed with the leg kicks when he went against what's his name, Blockhead.
Yeah,
Blockhead.
I know who you're talking about.
Well, we know who we're talking about.
We know who we're talking about. Yes, he's very resilient.
He is,
and he's got power.
But though I'm saying Johnny Walker's got some kicks on him.
Oh yeah,
the kicks that. No, he didn't go. It wasn't Anthony Smith. It was Anthony Smith is more like he's got a rounder head.
Yes, he's not as blocky.
Yeah, this is a more blocky head opponent. Opponent. No.
No, I can't. I know who you're talking about.
That would have been guard puller.
Yes. But no, I think you might be right, and now you may be swaying me back the other way. Yeah, exactly. Just because it's a quick score. But I maybe go Johnny Walker. That's the only one and I always, every time I enter into a parlay, there's always one fight where I'm nervous about it.
Yeah.
The good thing about it is that I'll be disappointed quickly because that's the first fight of the parlay. And I'm pretty confident in the other two.
Fight that's supposed to be on the main card is Nurmagomedov.
Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. Yeah, I like him a lot. Yeah, he's an up and comer too.
Yeah.
No, I do too. It's gonna be a good card all the way around. I'm excited for it. Very excited for it.
There's a couple. I mean, there's just so many good fights coming up even after that. Man, I can't wait.
Yeah, Leon's next week. Or 2 weeks after.
Leon Edwards?
Yeah, 2 weeks, 2 weeks after. Yeah. That's a great card. Then we got John Jones in November.
Which you're gonna have the pleasure of.
I will be there. I will be there personally. And even that, there's a couple of strong fights in that card as well. So definitely exciting stuff.
Yep.
All right, man.
We'll
see you guys this weekend.
Boom.